Welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I'm Cryptokip, and in today's video, we have a very special guest on the channel, Santoshi Aoki. He has 10,000 subscribers, and he does a lot of fantastic content about gaming and cryptocurrency as a whole, Cronos as well. And we're going to talk a lot about everything going on in the crypto landscape, as well as give you guys some key price predictions at the end of this video for 2023 and 2025 regarding cryptocom, so you don't want to miss out on that. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you smash up the like button and subscribe to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I'm Cryptokip, and today we have a very special guest on the channel, Santoshi Aoki. Thank you so much for joining us. Where are you sitting in the world today? I can't remember where you're based out of.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me and with the patience. I know I had a struggle getting on here the first time, but yeah, no, I'm definitely keen to connect with you guys. So thanks you for that. And yeah, so where am I based? In London at the moment. So yeah, been here for about 7 years and yeah, just started up the channel, I think about a couple of years ago or something like that. But yeah, I'm based out of London at the moment.
Beautiful. Me and my partner on the channel Maxi, we've been watching you quite a bit. We see you talk a lot about kind of the gaming side of crypto, which is cool. I know you talk a lot about cryptocom as well. A couple other projects as well. We're out of the US. We talk a lot about Crocoin on this channel, but I'll talk to you a little bit about gaming today and just kind of want to get your idea, and we'll talk a little back and forth on, you know, what's going on. Like, obviously, this is a crazy time in the crypto markets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a peek here at a couple questions we put together for you today. So first off, you know, what made you start your channel in the first place?
Yeah, it's a very good question, to be honest. You know, so I was in the fitness industry before sort of getting into cryptocurrency. I was doing a bit of personal training for probably about 5 years, give or take, and I kind of always, you know, thought about the idea of going remote, going digital. It was just the way things were headed pre-COVID and especially post-COVID. And I think when COVID hit, you know, in terms of actually going to the gym, that almost became obsolete for a lot of people. We had to enter into Zoom chat rooms and things like that. And that, I guess, kind of gave me the drive to, you know, actually start up a channel. I'd already been creating a lot of fitness programming content for clients and videos and things like that. I was always pretty good at it. I enjoyed it. I liked working out, very natural for me, but I was never super passionate about it. And in the same time, sort of around a similar time, well, not similar time to COVID, but for a couple of years prior to that, sort of mid 2017, I would say, just before that bull run up to 20K for BTC, I got introduced to crypto, got really excited, and I bought my first bit of Bitcoin when it was around 3K, I think. Some random altcoins that I just knew nothing about, and I kind of I guess my mentality was, don't learn about it and then buy the stuff. Just buy some stuff and then just learn about it. I don't know. That's just the way, you know. I kind of don't have that. Yeah, I don't want to be frugal like that. I don't have that sort of emotional connection of losing money. I'm happy to risk it, basically. I kind of think, you know, whilst we're young, just take the risks now. And that's it. Just try to be a bit sensible about it. And so,
not more than you're willing to lose, right?
100%, exactly. Not more than, you know, what you're willing to lose, even though you're probably not willing to lose any anyway. But yeah, I saw my portfolio blow up. I think I invested maybe £3,000, and I think saw the portfolio blow up to around 30 or 40K. And I just thought, I'd never taken any money out, and I just thought, this can't be real. You know, monitoring my funds going up and down, and then the market's just crashed again. So I watched it go up, and then it just dumped again for a while, back to 3K, 7K, up to like 12, back to 10, 7, 3, or, you know, up and down. And I don't know really why I did it. I was still learning a lot about it, but I just kept buying Bitcoin basically, and you know, it was kind of, and that's when I got introduced to cryptocom and using the card, and you know, I was kind of getting a little bit of sick of PT, especially because I really liked working in the gym with Kit and clients, and you know, I was doing strength and conditioning as well. So that kind of training is a bit harder to do when you're just doing remote work. So I kind of started to really lose any kind of passion I had for, I guess, fitness and personal training, and at the same time, I was getting a lot more passionate about cryptocurrency. And I just thought, okay, you know, I've got two ways I can go here. I can either start a channel about the fitness stuff and really go in with that, which I did make a few videos for. I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it. And then I just thought, you know what, bugger it. I'll just start making a few videos specifically about the card, benefits and things like that. A few of my early videos. And started to get a few people talking, interested in the early days, getting a ruby red
Yeah.
card. The benefits were a lot better in those early days with obviously less users.
So let me
Yeah.
start. Crow coin.
Yeah.
So by the way, folks, we're going to do a Crow coin prediction. We're both going to give our number of what we think it's, where we could get. Maybe we'll do, how about we do a 2023 and 2025?
Sure.
Why
Yeah,
not?
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
But what made you like the card? You saw the card.
Yep.
Those crypto.com cards are awesome. That was one of the really big things that they had going on. I feel like when they first came out, right? And first
Of course,
they
of course.
were, what was it?
Monaco.
Monaco. Yes.
MCO. Yeah. Very
Monaco, MCO, the big dramatic shift for all you
Yes.
guys that are natives, the MCO over
Yeah.
to CRO, and people
Yeah.
panic. We're in a good spot today. What got you into Crow? How did you even come across Crow in the first place, right? How'd you find the card?
So literally, it was a buddy that I actually met at the gym who had been into crypto, I think maybe from 2013, really early on, and he'd made a disgusting amount of money on Neo and with Neo Gas. I don't know if you're familiar.
Oh!
Did you do that? Did you get in that as well?
Yeah, Neo though. I rode that thing to the bottom.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah, I think most people probably did.
Yeah.
Well, my buddy who I used to go to the gym with, basically I heard him. We're in the changing rooms at my gym, and this was like just after mid 2017, and so people were not really talking about crypto then still, and it wasn't like it is today. You wouldn't see it on like sports stadiums, billboards. It's nowhere near as mainstream as it is now.
And what blows my mind is it's so mainstream now, and still people
it's so it's everywhere. I just can't not see it now. Sporting events and things like that. But yes, I heard him mention Neo in the changing room. I just said, "You into crypto?" And so we got talking, and he was telling me about how he bought like a new motorbike purely off the gas that he earned just from holding Neo and all of this. And I was just like, dude,
the Neon wallet.
Yeah, through the Neon wallet and all this stuff. And I was just like in awe of that basically. But that gentleman actually, he would always be on these new projects, and he basically introduced me to the idea of staking for this Ruby Red card, their first card there. And I just thought, why not? Sounds good. So he introduced me to that. I staked, I think, I can't remember exactly when it was, but it must have been a year, or at least a year before the card was even to be delivered, probably more. So it was just a long waiting game in the stage of MCO.
So what year was it that you got in?
I mean, when was it? God, it must have been 2017. I mean, maybe 2018. I got in right at the start. I got in for the first batch of cards.
Nice.
It was for the first batch. I was right in there.
I found out about Crow coin because we were talking a little bit. We talked a little bit before we started the video, Satoshi and I, and we were talking a little bit about Swipe and Binance, and they were talking about doing a card integration, which kind of fell off the map. So right when I was learning about that, and I was talking about Swipe a little bit with my partner Black Sea, he was actually the first one to bring crypto.com to the radar, and I was like, oh, this is strange, and then I looked into it, and the app was fantastic, and then I got the card, and it was like, everybody would always say, you can't spend your crypto, and I go,
oh my God, absolutely. That's just a constant thing. Oh, but how do you spend it? Oh, how do you spend it? That's even, that's just like,
that's how it is.
You shake your head, because it's so easy now.
So let me ask you this. Right now, very turbulent times in these crypto markets. And you know what? I'm going to actually share my screen a little bit. So give me 1 second. Let me show you this real quick. So obviously, and can you see the screen all right, Satoshi?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So, obviously we got a lot of turbulence going on in these markets. Bitcoin's down 5% today. Ethereum's down 5%. I mean, some coins are down 10%. There's a lot going on, and clearly one of the conversations happening is, interest rates are going up, right? There is a risk of regulation as well, right? Folks are talking a little bit about this, right? So I don't know if you saw this one, but the White House and the Biden administration here in the U.S. actually came out, and they back in the beginning of this year, they said that they want the governmental agencies in the U.S. to start building a framework around crypto And
Mm.
actually, recently in September here, they kind of released some information on what they're talking about in terms of how they're going to start regulating this. They talk a little bit about like environmentally friendliness. They talk a little bit about how there's obviously scams. We talked about how there's a lot of
Yeah.
scams and bad players in the crypto markets. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know how your thoughts are on Do Kwon, but the Do Kwons of the world maybe even are under the radar on this. They talk about Terra Luna on this.
Yeah.
My question is, you know, do you think that the 4-year cycle will be interrupted by these interest rate hikes and, you know, some of this regulation? What does that look like to you when it comes to talking about the 4-year cycle? Because I'm sure you're aware of the Bitcoin halving. You
Yeah.
know, every four,
Yeah.
4.5 years, we get the
Yeah.
bull cycle. What are your thoughts on how this is affecting us right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously, yeah, it's very hard to predict as each cycle comes about, and I think with, I think the thing with that increased regulation is I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because if you want mainstream, unfortunately, there has to be a way, for cryptocurrency in the wild west of cryptocurrency to integrate, into mainstream finance. It just has to happen. I think the only way that really happens is with some regulation. So there definitely is a lot of positive to it. I think a lot of people talk about, how they don't want regulation, etc. But these are the same people that are into cryptocurrency, want their bags to pump, want Bitcoin and Ethereum to pump. But it's not really gonna properly happen from a fundamental standpoint, unless we really get the masses continuing to invest and believe in a product that actually continues to have success like Bitcoin, Ethereum, I think, and have that utility and use case. So I think overall, I think it's probably a positive thing. I think I guess people in the mainstream just need to be aware of what government's intentions really are. They say they want to protect you, say they want to save money for you, and it's not always necessarily the case. So I think maybe people just get into the habit of listening exactly to what their governments say, or they're reading, these news articles and thinking, there's a bit more meaning behind them. And so they just need to think a little bit more for themselves. And I think, yeah, just it's not always going to be necessarily be good just to own government currency too. Have a non-custodial wallet as well, I think is important. As for the 4-year cycle, I don't know, maybe there'll be a slight delay, but if there is, I don't think it will be for too long because, with this increased regulation is also becoming a lot more increased awareness. And I think, it still doesn't affect that, if you do believe in that finite supply of 21 million BTC, yeah, I mean, for what I tell people, you're probably the same. You probably know a lot of people who maybe they bought a bit of crypto or, you've mentioned Bitcoin to them and they ask you for some advice, or maybe they don't care. I
But they
always keep
only
it
want to know in the bull market,
no,
Satoshi.
100%, 100%. Or people that bought, I had quite a few people that did buy, I guess, for like 40, 50, around 60K,
Yeah.
who did buy, and now they're thinking, well, is that it? Is crypto done now? And I just say, look, I always give them this example, and I say, look, I've been here for not that long, but enough cycles to feel confident that that price will increase and skyrocket through 60K again. A friend of mine who I think BTC was probably around. I always give this example. I think it was pre-COVID. BTC was around 9K, and a friend had about $5,000 to invest. He said to me, look, Earl, or look, Satoshi, what do you reckon I should do? Do you think now's a good time? So, well, look, I don't know what the price is going to do, tomorrow or next week. Who knows? Could go up, could go down, but I do feel very confident that we will breach 20K in the next 2 to 3 years at least. He invested that 5,000 at around 9,000 BTC, and literally the next week, I think the price dropped 100%. Right. So if you think about it, investing $5,000 when BTC is 9K, having it drop to 3K, you're not going to be very happy. But then if you're just holding and you're not leveraged, and you fast forward, a year or two,
And
even
I'd
now,
say, and your dollar cost average over that
if you
period
if you
of time.
dollar cost average, put a bit in when you got a chunk here or there. Even if she is still sitting pretty at a 2x, right? She invested 9K, and even now everything's so bearish. BTC still sits around 19K. She's still up a 2x, right, from that position, which is better than so much. Okay,
Right.
so I think in terms of the 4-year cycle, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe it will be interrupted, but I do think that if it is interrupted, I don't know. I don't think it'll be much longer than 12 months. I think if you actually look at the average length of a bear cycle as well, I do believe on average, I think for the last 3 or so, we have extended that period of time. I know this recession seems to be a little bit more severe than a few of the recent ones that we've had, but it is, that expiration date
Is it
has
a
passed.
recession though?
Well, that's the thing. Whether you believe it or not, people have
Right,
opposing views. I'm not even
right,
sure myself, to be honest, but
right.
some prices may reflect that in traditional stocks and things like that. But again, you're seeing little bits of green across the board. But who knows? I feel like it's almost like when everyone starts getting too bearish, things turn around. People started
Yeah,
getting too bullish. People said, "Oh, BTC at 60K,
right.
we're going 300K in 2 months. It's here."
Yeah.
Do
I
you
like where
remember?
your head's at on that. I mean, so you're talking about family and friends or anybody that bought into crypto. I'll just tell you, I have family members buy into crypto
Yeah.
back in the 2017 peak. They were
Yeah.
buying
Wow.
in. I
Yeah.
was
Of
saying
course. Of
that,
course. Of course.
I was super bullish. That was my first bull run. I got into 2016, 2017, rode that thing up.
Yes.
And people were just getting all hyped. I got some family members in and they bought it at the peak. And man, they just got crushed.
Yeah.
Bitcoin went down from 20,000 down to what? I think 3,000 was the
Yeah.
bottom or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were just rocked. And they were like, I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell it. And I was like,
Yep.
look, you can sell it, but what you're going to do is you're going to realize a lot of losses. And that'll be a great tax write-off, sure, but now you're going to have a lot less money.
Yeah.
This is going to come back, guys. And you know what? Both my family members that got in, they held. And
Good.
they rode that thing back up to 69,000 and they made quite a bit of money. And
Fantastic. That's great.
the strong
That's
hands
great.
prevail. I mean, it's really tough right now. But what do you think about these interest? Like, do you think that the inflation is a bigger problem? Like, do you think the inflation's a bigger problem, or do you feel like regulation's a bigger problem? Or do you think, maybe I think personally, maybe like what you were saying, regulation is a good thing, right? I agree. I mean, I think we got to have it come in because we need to kind of eliminate these do-kwon-like players that are coming in and kind of doing some mischievous tactics, I guess you could say. And I mean, what are your thoughts? What do you think?
I think
Inflation?
as regulation increases, you will naturally see, I guess, less volatility in the market. So if you're someone that just wants to come in with $100, make like 1,000x, it's going to be harder to do the more regulation comes in. That's what I think. If you're that kind
Yeah.
of person, if you're the kind of person that I guess is a bit more, sensible and just wants to maybe dollar cost average primarily, inject a few hundred, dollars here or there when they have a bit
Right.
of money. Think, I think overall regulation is probably going to be more of a positive, because it's going to create a bit more of a steady, secure price and a secure environment and ecosystem over maybe a 5 or 10 year period. Okay, so that's what I think about that. I think about the inflation. I think again, I think you can't really say whether it's inflation or regulation. You can't just go out and say it's positive or negative. I think you
Right.
have to dissect it in a few different bits. But when it does come to inflation, I
Good
think
point.
maybe, temporarily it might not be a great thing, but I think for sure over the medium long term, it's definitely a good thing for Bitcoin because it just
Right.
continues to prove the narrative that, it's also something that I always tell on my Instagram stories to friends and things. I said, the only reason I would ever hold cash is enough for an emergency fund to do something with, that I'm only going to access for emergency reasons, only going to have enough cash on hand for my expenditure, okay, or a chunk that I've got set aside waiting to pounce on that next opportunity. But
A little bit of
aside
dry
from
powder.
that, it makes absolutely zero sense to me to have a large sum of cash sitting in a bank account with no intention for that cash
Right.
just sitting there. And I know obviously it's not financial advice, sure, but that's just my idea behind it. I think what's happening with inflation now, pensions not being secure all around the world, it just proves that point of,
Yeah.
of why BTC I think is probably going to be a safer bet. People can say all that they want about BTC, how bad it is, whatever, but the bottom line is, we started out under $1. A few years later, we're up at 20K now.
Right.
Okay, you cut out all the other crap in between. That's the bottom line. It was $1. It was $1 or less, less than $1 in 2009, and it's you're on 20,000 in 2022. Everything that happened in between, they were just cycles. But the bottom line is, if you bought and held anywhere along that time, you're going to be doing very well compared to if you held cash or probably a lot of other assets. And that's the
Yep.
bottom line.
Yep.
And for most people that don't have the time, that's all you got to do. Focus BTC, maybe some Ethereum. Don't think about anything else. Hold it in a secure wallet and just forget about it. Let it gather dust, and then
I think that's a great strategy for kind of your basic, like, I don't know anything about crypto. You cannot go wrong if you know nothing about crypto. If you're not doing your research and you're not looking into some of these other projects that we talk about, you can't go wrong. We're looking at a Bitcoin halving countdown right now. This is the fulcrum of all of crypto, right? 100%. And I'm with you where we're looking at a long-term mindset, and I want to kind of pivot here. So right now we're in a bear market, and people are fearful. Nobody's here. We talked about DCing as the strategy. We're here for the long term. I would say that a lot of these successful crypto projects as well. Crypto.com we talk about a lot on the channel. I think they're doing a great job right now because they're building in this bear market. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff. What we're going to talk a little bit about this Cronos roadmap.
Yep.
One thing that I'm really excited about, and I know there's a lot of projects that are doing this, and I think these are the projects that are going to be successful. They're focusing their energy, just like we're focusing on dollar cost averaging with $100 a week, $100, whatever, wherever your dollar amount might be over time. These guys, they're investing in their chain, right? The Cronos chain. Crypto.com Capital has $500 million on the side to help invest in these projects. They've got a lot going on in this. If you guys haven't seen this roadmap, Satoshi and I were talking a little bit about this earlier, but one thing I was noticing is these grants that they're coming out with. And these grants are going to be really, really, really big where, they've already done a bunch. They've already got these startups. What are your thoughts here? I mean, is you do a lot with gaming, right? And so I think one thing that crypto.com might start getting involved with a little bit more, and I still have to do a lot of diving on the gaming side of it. What are your thoughts on how they're doing with building out their infrastructure and kind of expanding the amount of dApps and bringing in developers with the grants and, this roadmap that they laid out for us?
Of course. So now, look, I think that, I guess from a foundational standpoint, they're ticking all the boxes, aren't they? They're super secure, transparent enough, I would say, in comparison to a lot of other projects. I think they've really, what I really like about crypto.com is they've built up, a solid trust, I think, with their community over the last few years, because you must remember back to the early days, when I used to create, sometimes I'd create 2-3 videos a week solely about crypto.com, and I get a lot of love, but I'd also get a lot of comments, scam this, scam that. People hated crypto.com. It was ridiculous. And, I never once really thought that they were a scam. But people genuinely thought that they were just a scam the whole way through. And I think, it's a testament to them, their professionalism over the last few years, building on those foundations, not doing super fancy marketing necessarily in those early days, but just doing everything that was required, really improving their customer support. I think that was a big turning point as well. The customer support through the app used to be quite average, and I spoke about that a bit. But I think now, I haven't used customer support on the app for a while, but last time I did use it, you get a response within like an hour. I think, compared to, like, say, Coinbase, for example, it's like, pretty much non-existent, right?
Night and day. You get to go into like a questionnaire and like select a question and maybe there's an answer.
It's disgusting,
right?
And that kind of stuff is really important. Like, you want to know, it's like with my traditional investing where I invest in Tesla. I have my ISA here in the UK through Hargreaves and Lansdowne, and if I've got an issue, I know that I can get on the phone with a really nice, enthusiastic customer representative within 10 minutes, easy, that actually wants to talk to me. And it's that kind of service that is going to make me feel comfortable putting more of my money into that ecosystem. And I think, crypto.com have done that really, really well, because that's the big thing, isn't it? Especially now, before, and probably going forward, people are fearful of scams. When we talk about mainstream media and a lot of the coverage there, it's this crypto scam here, this scam there. But people get scared and they don't want to invest. Or if they do want to invest, they want to feel like their money is, secure, or as secure as it can be on a third-party exchange and not a ledger. And I think, in my eyes, I'm not sure if there is a company that does it better than crypto.com at the moment. I do feel secure, very secure with funds that I have with them. So I think in terms of what they've developed there from a foundational standpoint, that trust is really important, and that they've got the people's trust. And now, yes, they are delving into obviously DeFi and blockchain gaming, setting up their, Cronos blockchain, the ecosystem for that. And they're definitely on the right track for sure. But what I would also say with that is I just hope that they are hiring the right people who do have experience. I guess when it comes to gaming specifically, I think where a lot of projects are going wrong, I don't want to say going wrong, but they're not doing it for the passion. A lot of people are seeing this lucrative opportunity in blockchain gaming, play to earn. They come in, make a project, create a token, and it's essentially a pump and dump. And I can tell straight away that the game's not going anywhere, right? But if they can, again, just using blockchain gaming specifically as an example, when they're talking about giving away these grants, I hope that they're just not being too loose about giving these grants away just to anybody. I hope that they, have a team in place who can actually are good at deciphering, okay, these guys look like they might be maybe these guys are traditional gaming developers that have created a good product, or they got good experience in creating indie games or something on Steam. They see an opportunity to create something on Cronos. Yeah, we'll fund them, rather than just giving money out to anybody. Okay, that's I guess just using that blockchain gaming example. That's what I would say.
No, that's a great point. I mean, that's a great point, because you don't want to just be like, okay, great, they have $500 million. Are they taking this $500 million and just throwing it into a fire, right?
Exactly.
And is it just going bye-bye? Is this essentially a burn wallet of dead dApps that are coming down?
No, 100%.
I got a lot of faith in the team, but those are great questions, and that's something that we're going to have to kind of stay posted on. I personally didn't dive so deep into the actual gaming prospects that they have going on and some of the new things. I saw some of these accelerator programs.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see there's activity, what kind of activity that is, how actual, how good the players are in that activity.
Yeah.
That's kind of something. I know you're into the gaming. I'd lean on your expertise. Hopefully we can do another one of these as they kind of, get more of this together. We can talk more about that
absolutely.
another time. When it comes to you were talking a little bit about some of the marketing earlier and how they weren't really doing some of that in the early days. Now, I know everybody knows about all these partners. Clearly, they've got the F1 racing partnership. They've got the 76ers. They've got hockey teams. They've got the UFC. They've got FIFA World Cup coming up. By the way, are you bullish on the FIFA World Cup event for Crypto.com, or do you think it's a non-event?
No, you have to be, I guess. I think probably a lot of people don't pay attention, I guess, to these, these sponsors and things like that. But I guess, eventually you got to keep going. I think that's the same for all this branding. And I think, if it's a question of whether to get involved as a sponsor of FIFA World Cup or not, I think, get involved. I think, because eventually this subliminal messaging does work.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people have criticized them, though, and I'm sure you've seen it, where it's like, well, they're just overspending on their marketing. And then they got attacked, too, because Crypto.com got attacked because of these layoffs. You were saying you're hoping they're hiring the right people. Well, they had some layoffs, and then they're spending a lot of marketing. Yep. Is that bad? Is that good? Is that irrelevant? Are they just running their business? What's your thought on kind of that?
I think you got to get it out there, somehow. The fact of the matter is, eyes are going to be on the FIFA World Cup, and even though, as I said, someone who's not into crypto, they'll see the Crypto.com logo, and at some point, someone might mention crypto to them, and then they'll think, okay, well, what have I seen that's relative to crypto recently? Oh yeah, I saw that Crypto.com advert. Maybe I'll just make an app, sign up. Before you know it, they've thrown $100 in. You times that by a few million, few billion. That's good for the business, isn't it?
That's
the way I see it. I mean, obviously, I can imagine they're spending a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
What blew my mind, man, is when they did the Staples Center. Okay, this was the math that I kept telling people because it was like blown away by it. $700 million for the naming rights to the Staples Center. At the time, insane. I think the market cap of the coin was like $8 billion or something at the time. So, like, we're talking about like this company just spent 1/10 of their entire market cap on advertising. Does that say that they're strong, or does that say that they're strong? Like, that was my thought at the time. Or the other people were saying, man, that's irresponsible. It's like, what were your thoughts with that huge purchase there? 20-year deal.
Yeah. God, it's again, Staples Center, it's massive, isn't it? Again, it's just that subliminal messaging. People are you're almost going to be indoctrinating people, into crypto.com in a sense. I don't know. I mean, I think, yeah, it's obviously, yeah, it's a lot of money to put down 1/10 of your market cap. It's kind of a Hail Mary, isn't it? It really is. They're throwing all these out there, and it could be make or break, especially with how governments and mainstream media portray crypto sometimes in such a negative light. Obviously,
Yeah.
millions of people watch this, so then they go and watch that, and then they see, they might see the crypto.com advert at the Staples Center and think, oh yeah, I heard a bit about crypto. They were talking about on the news negatively. Someone got a
Yeah.
scam. I'm not going to get involved in that.
Yeah.
But again, it's like these same people can get proven wrong, But again, we've seen it, haven't we, since early 2009, and then the negative media has always been there, but the price just keeps going higher and higher and higher. And I think so long as they can keep their business afloat, if we can reach another bull, if we can reach another proper bull cycle, right, and they can stay afloat, I think it's a good thing. But I think obviously if it doesn't come, there is obviously that chance that if it doesn't come too soon and they keep spending, you got to think they're going to run out of money at some point.
One thing I just thought of too is yeah, right. But apparently they got 500 million on the side. I hope, that's all good. And I think they're doing all right. What actually just struck me, I literally just thought of this, but you got to think if they bought the naming rights to this at the peak of the bull run, didn't they just take profit essentially? I mean, think about how much money they made with the price action on their coin, even before the news.
Yeah.
The coin is still at whatever, 4 cents back, in 2019. It was really cheap, even cheaper probably. And then it was up to 20 cents at that time. And then it went from 20 cents to $1. And that was kind of the news. So, maybe they took profit, right? Maybe
that's
so that was point.
That's a very good point.
That was a win.
Very good point.
Because they could have just sat on the sidelines, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%. No, that's actually a very good point. In that scenario, absolutely, that's a win. If they've taken their profits and invested in that deal at the peak, then and used some CRO gains, then absolutely that's a big W. Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know, but you'd have to think that they would have. I'd say that they would have at least some. There had to be a percentage, right? I would think so.
I'm pretty sure they have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. They're a business. If they're going to make all this money on fees for all this trading, think about how much money they're making on the fees as a huge exchange. That's got to be a good tax write-off for them as well. So maybe, I don't know. I feel good about it, right? I am biasly bullish on crypto.com. I mean, it's a bear market. Let's be real, right? The markets are down. The markets are hurting right now. But overall, I mean, I'm with you. I think that this is like subliminal messaging that over 100%. Time, it's going to become a household name if it's not already. That being said, let me ask you this just straight away. So do you think that, we talk about a lot of coins here. We talk about Binance. We talked a little bit about FTX as well on the channel. But, Binance recently had a little bit of a hack, actually. The truth is, I think what happened is they basically hackers minted extra BNB tokens out of thin air. And I think they got away with about 100 million of it. But this basically showed a little bit of a vulnerability. Now, just to kind of reference this, I talk a lot about user growth on the channel from Binance versus Crypto.com. Last time I checked, Binance had about 90 million users, but that's out of date. They need to update that number. So does Crypto.com, who's currently sitting at 50 million users. So Crypto.com's got about half the amount of users as Binance right now. Binance had a vulnerability, but they're still the biggest player in the market. They're still the biggest exchange token out there. And then FTX is doing a great job where they just came out with their partnership with Visa, and they're going to be launching a global campaign for, their Crypto.com card, their FTX partnership in 40 countries. My question to you is, do you have a favorite in this race, or is it up in the air for you? Just, truly, do you think Binance or Crypto.com or FTX is better? Are they different? Can they coexist? What are your thoughts on kind of these three projects and how they interact?
Yes, I guess, Yeah, FTX, I don't have an account for at the moment, but I do, know a little about FTX. Binance was my main go-to app for a long time. Then I've since started using a few different exchanges. Yeah, and as for crypto.com, again, I think, I do think, just to start off with, they can all definitely coexist, and I think, they may all well coexist. There's going to be several big winners in the space, and I think definitely Binance, FTX, and crypto.com are definitely all up there at the moment. I think from what I've seen, I probably don't know so much about this, but from what I have seen, Binance does come up under a lot of scrutiny for, you know, trying to dodge regulation, or I guess trying to find loopholes in the system and things like this. What I do notice about crypto.com in comparison is it seems on the surface that they do try to do everything by the book when it comes to regulation. And it seems as though they're always trying to be one step ahead of the regulators, trying to make sure they do the right thing. Where it seems like
Yeah,
Binance is kind of always tripping up or coming under scrutiny. I mean, yes, they are bigger, but
that's a great point.
crypto.com is still very big too. So I just think, I don't know, crypto.com seems like the good boy in class that tries to do everything right. Binance seems to be a little bit sneaky, but still kind of just manages to, stay afloat somehow.
I like that. So I'm one of the younger children in my family, and I've always
Yeah,
said, I think the oldest child always has the most difficult run in the world because they're doing
yeah,
everything for the first time. Binance
yeah,
is the
yeah,
oldest
yeah.
child in this crypto
100%.
exchange family.
That's true.
And
That's true.
to your point on the regulation front, I think they kind of just went for it because
Yeah,
they were the front runner on all this. They were the first people to kind of get out there and make the biggest exchange. And what
yeah,
I've heard is that a lot of the countries that they got into, they didn't get any regulatory approval, and so they're trying to figure out that after the
yeah,
fact. And to your point, I think Crypto.com has done a great job where now all of a sudden they're like buying a company in South Korea so that they can move into South Korea
yeah, yeah, yeah.
within a regulatory framework that works in that country. I
Sure.
agree. I mean, I think they're positioning themselves really well here for the future. That being said, I'm still bullish on Binance. I'm still bullish on FTX. Do you have by chance any Binance tokens, or are you not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, 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 no. I do have some BNB. I used to have quite a bit more.
same.
Yeah. No, I invested in BNB very early, probably around $10 or something like that. Took some profits. So, I've had a very good experience with Binance for sure.
Yeah,
Overall, definitely had a great experience with the token. Yeah, I haven't. No, I don't view Binance negatively. I just don't
yeah,
use the exchange so much anymore, just because in terms of the tokens that I want, they just don't have them available. That's why I primarily just use gate.io.
yeah.
It's just a little bit more seamless for me, but for sure, it's I used to do some automated trading bots via Binance, and it was always very smooth and a good experience. So, no, I've always had a good customer experience with Binance, even their customer support as well. Binance, it's very good. I've had
It is.
I've had 3 or 4 experience issues, minor issues with Binance that I needed resolved, and they were all resolved within the same day with
Yeah,
Binance. So I haven't got a bad word to say as a user about Binance. My experience using them from the UK, it's always been good. Yeah, again, and with FTX, they're the hype. A lot of influencers got these partnerships with FTX. You've got, you know, yeah, you've got a lot of hype around them. I think they've got their like gasless NFT. You can buy NFTs for no gas fee or whatever on there as well, which I
yep.
think is really cool
That's
too.
pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
So that's like their little, I think they've got their carved out their own little niche there as well. And I think you're probably going to see them develop quite nicely. I think they all kind of sit in a bit of a different spot.
They do. They
Yeah,
do.
they haven't
That's a good
really.
point.
It's not. Yeah, I think.
FTX doesn't really have a smart chain. Am I wrong, or do they?
I
I don't
don't.
see.
Yeah, I
I
don't
think they
think.
got a partnership.
Yeah, I don't. Not that I'm aware of. No. Yeah, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, no, I need to
Yeah.
do a bit more research on FTX. But yeah, that's.
That's one thing I noticed. And if there is a part, I think it might be like Elgorand, honestly, that they have a part. I could be wrong, folks. I
Yeah,
didn't look
yeah,
into that one, but they don't have Binance Smart Chain, right? The
yes,
Cronos blockchain. Crypto.com
yeah, yeah,
changes
yeah,
coin name to Cronos. I think that's an
yeah,
advantage that both Binance and Crypto.com have. And I agree with you. I mean, I still like Binance as well. They're obviously the biggest player, right? You kind of want to be betting on the biggest player, I think, when it
of
comes to
course, of
crypto.
course, of
I
course.
think, if you're looking at a metaverse, you're probably going to talk about immediately Sandbox, and you're going to talk about Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Decentraland. Those
Mm-hmm.
are probably the two that are come off your tongue. You're going to talk about the big players. I think, you're talking about Binance or Crypto.com, but FTX could be pretty sneaky. I mean, Sam Bankman-Fried has been coming with a lot. He's been having a seat in the White House. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen some of that. Like, had meetings in the White House, and he's got friends. He was actually a large contributor to the last presidential campaign in the U.S.
Sure.
actually as well. So, that'll be really interesting to see how that all plays out. And let's not get into any of the politics.
Yeah, so sounds like he's getting friendly with the right people. He's obviously got a hell of a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So if he just keeps making those right decisions, which I think he probably will, then I think there's definitely a bright future for FTX for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, it was good to see the card move for them. I want to try to get actually some more FTX tokens as well. I got a boatload of Crow. I love Crow. Not sponsored by Crow. I just, I love the project. I mean, I really believe in it, and I think when I look at Crow and Crypto.com and I see the way that the app is laid out, how easy it is to move from the centralized app over to the DeFi app.
Yep,
it's
very easy.
Seamless. And these DeFi protocols, they're very easy to use.
They are.
And I've noticed every time I try to go into that DeFi app, every other day, it's updated. They're working on it. They're building it up through this bear market, and they're trying to get themselves in a great position for the future. I'm pretty excited. Let me ask you this right now. Obviously there is a lot of fear in the market. I'm sure you've looked at the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index at some point.
Of course.
Right now we're in the red. We're in extreme fear. There's a lot of fear in the market. We're in the middle of a bear market. We're going to get to these Crow price predictions, folks. I promise. But do you think that right now? Well, first of all, let me ask you this: are you buying Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you feel like exchange tokens are more or less risky than Bitcoin?
More, for sure.
I agree completely. For sure, right? I mean, when we look at these markets, the name of the game is, Bitcoin is going to be more stable, right? Ethereum is going to be a little less stable, probably, and then kind of trickle down. As we go lower in market cap, it seems like things get a little more risky. Is that kind of your thought? Do you have a different thought on that?
Well, I think, the thing is, Bitcoin, Ethereum are, I think more of them as like integral parts of this Web3 technology, right? They serve a specific purpose. Like there is no, in my eyes, there's no Bitcoin serves its purpose. It's the first crypto, finite supply, most decentralized. It's just a digital gold. It's a store of value. It doesn't need to do anything else. That's it. It doesn't have to change, too much. A few minor upgrades here and there, but that's it. His purpose is there as a store of value, and I think that will maintain itself. Maybe not forever, but I think for at least the next 10 years, it's gonna remain. That's its use case. Ethereum is kind of like the internet money of Web3. So I think another integral part of technology. People can scrutinize Ethereum as much as they want, but the fact is, DeFi NFTs, majority of these applications are built on Ethereum, and people are still using it, and people have made a lot of money on it. And again, so I don't really put Bitcoin, Ethereum, I guess, in that same basket. I think like they're just kind of, for me, they're just no brainers to invest in.
Right.
Whereas when it comes to like exchange tokens, from one day or another, one can become obsolete, unpopular for some reason.
Sure.
They don't
regulation can come crashing down, and all of a
regulation can come crashing down, and it's just like, how many exchanges are there? I mean, there are a lot of exchanges, that they might be at the top of the chain, but it's like, a Binance or a crypto.com is not going to be able to do what a Bitcoin, Ethereum are doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas a crypto.com can do what Binance is doing. Can do what crypto.com does. So I think from that point of view, in my eyes, that's just plain and simple. It's why Bitcoin, Ethereum are the safer bet. You may not see, huge volatility in the price when it maybe comes to CRO. Like with CRO, we're sitting around 10 cents now. You could see a 10x within a year. It's possible, right? But you're not going to, you're probably not going to see a 10x with Bitcoin or Ethereum in a year. So if you're looking for that, I think what I would say, if you're someone that is looking to take a bit of risk, but you don't want to take too much of a degenerate risk, but you still want maybe a 10x, then your Binance, your BNB, maybe your FTX, maybe your CRO is kind of that middle ground.
Some of those top 20 coins that are good.
Yeah. if you just have $50 or $100 to invest, and you don't want to sit that in Bitcoin for 5 years, because that's not going to make you rich.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's like,
That's not
I
going to
now I
make
have
you rich.
190
Exactly.
You know?
So exactly. So
Yeah.
I think those bigger exchange coins are good ones to hold for that kind of middle ground. But yeah, for sure, as you go down in market cap, it is going to get riskier. But if you are someone that just doesn't make a lot of money, doesn't have a lot of money to invest, and you want to make that 10, 100,000x, then you got to be willing to take that risk
I
with some of
agree.
these projects. So
I agree with you completely. I'm also buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's my majority is what I'm buying. I'm buying some of these altcoins, right? I'm buying a little bit of CRO. I'm buying a little bit of some of these other projects, a little FTX. Got a little Binance already. I'm kind of trying to get more FTX actually right now. And,
nice.
some of these other projects that we talk about. But let me ask you this. We're in a bear market and it's been rough and it's been long and there's a lot of bad things going on right now. World, obviously, from inflation to wars to this to that. What do you think a bottom is for CRO? Do you think we've already hit bottom? Do you think that there is, something else coming down the pipeline in terms of, price action that we're not seeing yet? Or do you think, we're at the bottom?
Look, I mean, I think we could go a little bit lower. I don't think we'd go like 100% lower necessarily. I think, just who knows? I mean, I find it hard to see it going below like 5 cents, for example.
Yeah.
Even 6, 7 cents. If we got some really bad news coming up or something like that. But
sure.
I think we're pretty close, to be honest. I think we're fairly close. I think it could get down to maybe 7 cents or something like that. But yeah, I think it's got some. Yeah, I do think it's got some pretty strong support.
We've been bouncing off this 10 cent for forever.
Long time.
This is pretty freaky pattern. I mean, to be real, I mean, this looks like, we've got some room for a downward pull right now. October's typically bullish for crypto. I've been saying that a lot on the channel, and it is.
It's true. It is.
We're in a bear market. In the last bear market, October was bearish. So, typically, it's bullish, but look, I mean, this is down. I agree. I think there's some downside potentially left. That being said, FIFA World Cup's coming up, so who knows? Maybe we survive a little bit. Maybe we get a pump for the cup. That's possible.
It is.
But I'm with you. I mean, I've had, looking at this, I think, 4.5 cents, 5 cents is kind of my bottom. I mean, if we're going to that 3 cent, 2 cent range, like, I'm not going to panic, right? I'm just going to get really greedy and start buying a lot of CRO. But
I think so,
I think that on a low end, I think that that's pretty reasonable, just kind of from my perspective. But like you said earlier, I mean, an easy 10x is basically the way that I look at CRO coin. I mean, when you look at the chart, it's just way down from its high. We know that, when a bull market comes back around, the good projects at least typically go back up to their previous highs and then further. XRP, whether you like it or not, is one coin I can use an example that did not reach its previous all-time high in the last bull run. But that being said, it has a lot of scrutiny under the SEC hearings and all this.
Of course.
By the way, real quick, are you an XRP guy at all? Do you like XRP?
Look, I'm going to say that, I've been following them for a bit. I own a tiny bit. I'm just on the fence. I'm on the fence. I don't have a strong opinion. I'm not jumping on any bandwagon with XRP. I'm just kind of sitting on the fence with a bit, to be honest. But I'm not. And I would definitely potentially buy some more. I just don't have a lot of free cash on hand. But I'm not.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm just kind of on the fence with them, to be honest.
If they come out of this case, it's good. It's going to be huge, probably.
Exactly.
And if it comes out negative, oh boy.
And the thing about XRP is, they have been under a lot of scrutiny the last few years, and they are going through this case at the moment. But they are, I suppose, they're quite unique in the market. Their use case is very unique, for better or worse, and I think that will either work, very favorably for them, or they'll crash and burn. Because they are, it's like, they bring something very unique to the space, I think.
I agree. I mean,
For
I'm
better or worse.
glad that somebody's battling the SEC for us and
Yeah, yeah.
somebody's doing it
Well,
for us. So, hey,
well, that's it
XRP
exactly.
Army, smash up the like button. You know what? Like, I'm cheering for him. I got a cousin. He's got a big bag. Let's go. You know,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
pump that
yeah.
XRP. But
100%, 100%.
all right. So the moment everybody's been waiting for Satoshi, you know what? Yeah, the moment everybody's been waiting for. We got to know. So Satoshi, we hit $1 Crow coin, just under $1 from the Staples Center naming rights acquisition back in November during the last bull run for Crow coin.
Yeah.
We're at 10 cents today. 2023, where do you see it going? 2025, what's your best case scenario? We're
Sure.
not going to hold you to it. We're not going to hold you to it. Don't hold them to it, guys.
That's all right. Look, I reckon, 18 months, so let's just say a year and a half, we could see, I reckon we can get back to an all-time high again. I reckon 18 months. Obviously it could come sooner or later, but if I have to predict, I'd probably say give it around 18, around 18 months. I hope it comes sooner, but I'm going to say 18 months for all-time high again. Right, year and a
18
half.
months.
18 months, a year and a half. If we're talking 2025, I'm gonna say by 2025 that $1 is gonna be like a support level. Sure.
Support, you think? So,
Yeah.
okay. So
I
you
reckon.
think
I reckon.
we
I
can
reckon.
go up,
Yeah.
and
I
when we
reckon
bounce,
$1 is a support, but who knows? We could get up past $2. Hopefully up past $2 by 2025. I think, of course, a lot of it is just going to depend on how well this marketing is working, this mainstream marketing is working.
yeah.
What will the narrative say about cryptocurrency when we do reach this bull market again? Because it's like time and time again, the media can just say, oh, or can talk negatively about crypto, but it can only happen so many times. If it just keeps recovering, the price keeps recovering, the regulation keeps increasing, and if it
If
just,
China keeps banning Bitcoin,
exactly, but as it does become more and more mainstream, as it is through pioneers like crypto.com who are doing it, putting it on the UFC, putting it on the F1, putting it on the Aussie rules, in the NBA, that kind of thing, then I think it's inevitable that people will eventually cross over and just provide that support for the price. Hopefully they can add a bit more. They can just keep adding good, genuine utility for the coin, and because I think that 30 billion supply, isn't it? I think it's pretty good. I think it's not super duper high, and
so
it
your
definitely
absolute peak. What do you say? What do you say? 2025.
2025 absolute peak. I mean, I want to say $3.
All right,
I know,
$3. Hold them to it. No,
yeah,
don't hold them to it. Don't hold.
you can hold me
You know,
to it. I mean,
I'm
whatever.
with you. I I love the idea. I actually didn't even think about what could support be after a bull run, right? I think a dollar makes sense. That 97-cent level
Yeah, yeah,
could make
yeah,
sense.
yeah. I think the support is important because obviously 'cause it's like I say it every year, every time. It's like you always kind of wish you sold more. Things are going so well.
Right.
It's like Bitcoin 60K, everyone's saying 100K, so I'm just
100,
holding
100.
my entire bag, and then you just lost 100%.
Right.
Like didn't take any profits, and
Well,
I think a
that's a
lot of
great point. You got
yeah,
to have a profit-taking strategy, right? So, like, let's
absolutely.
say in the last bull run, you thought it was going to 100K. Well, okay, when it passes the previous all-time high at 20,000, then, hypothetically, right, it'd be great if you were an investor with a plan and you said at 40K, 60K, 80K, 100K, I'm going to
Yeah,
take X amount of dollars out here, X amount of dollars out here, X amount of dollars out here, and then you never got to the 100K, but at least you took it out here, right?
that's
So
it.
I think that's important to say to the community because a lot of people messed up. I know I've messed up in the past.
Yeah,
I'll speak for
same.
myself on that one. Got to take
Absolutely.
profit at the peaks. I'm with you though. I think a $3 Crow coin could be in the cards. I've made a lot of arguments about that on the channel, talking about some of the user growth and some of the things going on. I'm going to say at absolute, man, I think there's a chance, Satoshi, you're going to think I'm crazy, man. I think we could have a $5 Crow in 2025.
It's a long way away.
No
Yeah,
sooner. It could not happen sooner in my mind. Maybe 2024 if the bull run comes a little quicker, but
yeah.
2023, I just don't think it's in the cards, right? I mean, are you with me in that, we're kind of in a bear market for the time being, and it's going to
Yeah, I
be
don't.
at least another year and a half, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think at least, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. I want to feel wealthy again.
Hopefully
But
not. I want to feel wealthy again. We all got to
yeah,
take some profits. We got to take some more profits, folks.
exactly. Yeah,
Well, Satoshi, I mean that's all I got today. I'd love to do this again. It's really great talking with you. Great to finally meet you here on the channel. We'd love to come on your channel sometime. Make sure
definitely.
that all you guys out here watching us here at the Crypto Report, make sure you check out Satoshi Aoki. Subscribe to his channel, guys. We're gonna put the link to his channel in the description down below. He makes fantastic comment. He also talks about Crowcoin. And he talks a lot about some of these gaming tokens, a lot of great projects out there. So make sure you tune into him. So great to meet you, man. Thank you for joining us today. Any last words for the audience as they continue to deal with these crypto markets over the next week, month, 18 months?
Of course. No, it's been an absolute pleasure and just great to have a chat with, someone else that is not only an influencer in the space of cryptocurrency. It's pretty hard going out here sometimes, and I think, as I said at the start, it's a testament to see you just grinding and doing this now when everyone's bored of it. It's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And I guess what I'd say to people watching is, don't overcomplicate things. Don't, just have tunnel vision in a sense. Again, not financial advice, but BTC, Ethereum, dollar cost average, just put a little bit in when you can and just hold on to it. Don't get yourself into leverage positions, all right, unless you've got a lot of experience and you are really genuinely prepared to lose everything, But if you're not leveraged, don't sweat it. Don't worry. BTC and ETH are coming back, and they're coming back with force. They are coming back with force, I think. So, just focus on those two. If you don't focus on too much outside of that. I mean, unless you do want to take that medium level risk, then CROs another great bet as well, for sure. But if you're really conservative, you're really stressing out, you can't handle it, you still want to get involved, just focus on BTC and ETH. And just don't worry, don't get sucked into, you can get pulled in all kinds of different directions through media and stigmas and all kinds of things. But at the end of the day,
Right.
just look back. You just have to look back across a 10-year history and have a look at where we've come from. Think about where things are now, and think about where things could go. And for me, that is enough reason just to continue putting a bit of money in and staying with the space. Keep your head in the space. Don't lose interest completely, because you keeping an interest in the space in some way or shape, or talking to some friends about it, is, I guess, a way that you can contribute to, I guess this kind of, this movement of cryptocurrency, if you like, and it's just going to be good for us all. So just keep talking about it, stay with it, even if it's just a little bit. Yeah.
I love it. Start a Discord with your friends. Start talking. Share some articles, guys.
Exactly.
Stay in the loop.
Share it round, exactly. And don't make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of this stuff. People don't realize, but it helps us out as YouTubers. You like the video gets more view time, comments. It means that it makes it easier for other people to see, and you might not think, it might seem like an annoying little thing to do, to like a video on a YouTuber's channel, but it's just a real easy way to give back to that YouTuber for providing you with, in this case, free, authentic information. And ultimately, if you are holding CRO, you're holding Bitcoin, you're holding ETH, by liking that video, you might not think about it, but it has a knock-on effect. If everyone likes the video, it makes these kinds of videos more popular.
Yep.
More people get involved, and the more people that get involved from mainstream, your bags are going to pump. So it's in your best interest as a viewer to do what you can to, share, comment, like, subscribe, and just make a habit of it. Because if you're an investor, you are going to reap the rewards of that as well in the long term. So I always do that, for the YouTubers I watch, whatever niche they're in, especially cryptocurrency. I think that's just a really important, thing to say for people that just kind of watch and, don't offer any feedback. Give you that feedback, create the conversation, everything like that. It's really, really helpful.
I love it. I love creating content when I get a comment on my channel and it's a good comment and it's a good question. I'm all about it. Let's
absolutely,
make a video,
absolutely.
What I mean?
Yeah, don't be afraid. Just engage with the videos that you're watching. It helps everybody involved. Makes everybody a winner in the end. Yeah.
Well said. Satoshi, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you all for watching. I'm Cryptokip. This is the Crypto Report. This is Satoshi Aoki. Check out his channel, guys. Link in the description down below. Until next time, make sure you DCA, HODL, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Nice. Cheers, guys.
Make sure you check out Satoshi's channel in the link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have 2 videos for you right here and right here if you would like to check them out. Peace, guys. Have a great night.